Welcome back to Hot Rod Guy Garage, and this is going to be another budget engine build series. I done went and done it again and bought another marketplace motor. So follow me on through the intro and I'll be back. So guys, I have bought another marketplace engine. This one was supposed to be a 5.0 Mustang roller motor. It did come out of a Fox Body Mustang, or at least that's what the ad insisted that it was out of. And there was a video of the car running. It's supposed to have a camshaft in it. It sounded pretty good. And it's supposed to be just clean it up a little bit and put it in a car type of engine. I had originally bought this for a 65 Mustang. When we found out it's 289, need to go to the machine shop. I was trying to get a quick, easy fix for him. And I ended up buying this to kind of save face because I didn't want to waste nobody's time reaching out to him on the engine. So this engine's supposed to be 30 over. It's supposed to have forged pistons in it. It's got a roller cam, link bar lifters. And other than that, it looks pretty much like a pretty much stock motor. So I'm going to flip it around and show it to you. And we'll go from there. So what we got Fox Body accessories up here. It looks like it has a stock set of cylinder heads and rocker arms with a set of newer valve springs. It has a set of link bar lifters in it. Because it is not a factory roller block, somebody had already drilled and tapped this, and yes, it's got some dirt in it up here. It's got ARP head studs, it's got an aftermarket oil pan on it, it's got Fox Body motor mounts, which is pretty much par for the course. Checking the casting numbers, and it goes with this right here. This is an 80 model casting block. So it's an EO block, so non-roller 302. So I don't have a whole lot of money in this. I gave $900 for this engine on the premise that it was a clean it up and run it type of deal. So it's always a gamble when you buy something on Marketplace. So I've already run the bore scope in this engine, and it does have an aftermarket piston in it. But it has been stored with no intake on it and no spark plugs in it for I don't know how long. It does have a little rust in the cylinders. It does have, it looks like a dirt dauber nest in the number 7 cylinder. There is something in the number 7 cylinder of this engine. It will turn over. I sprayed it full of some penetrating oil in the spark plug holes. It'll spin over about 3/4 way one way and about 3/4 way the other way and stop. So we're going to have to tear in this thing and figure out if I got screwed, or if it was literally an insect that got in there and built a nest and it's causing this issue. And this is a good motor and there's no issues. So let's get tearing this thing down. There's going to be a little bit of time lapse in this one, guys, because you watched me tear the accessories off 289. You watched me tear all the accessories off 2.3 turbo. Let's apply this as needed. So hope you stick with me. Let's get this thing tore down. Alright, so we're down to about the skibbies here with just the water pump and timing cover and just some other little small things left to take off. But I just wanted to come in here. I'm going to pull this balancer off. Still using this Chinese impact that everybody said wouldn't last. And it's been a good unit, guys, so you need to really check those out because that's a killer deal in that impact, and it is one strong little unit. So I will try to tag it in this video. If not, you can go to my automotive review videos and you can see it there. But it's one heck of a little impact. So things like 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. So I guess we're ready to see what is behind door number 1 here. So good thing is, I got timing cover is very clean. We have a double roller timing chain that don't have no slack in it at all. Looks like we got a new oil pump in here. And this block is very, very clean inside. So hopefully this will be a good engine. I just put some gaskets in it and do a clean up, but that'll all be determined once we get the heads and the pan off of it. So this is a good sign. Like I said, this chain has no slop whatsoever in it. So I feel a little bit better about this one so far. Get these rockers off. What you gotta watch on a Fox body is sometimes people shim these rockers when they get a camshaft, so you need to pay attention. Especially on a pedestal mounted head. You need to see if it's had any shims added. So far it don't look like it has any, so I'm sure whatever camshaft in it is a drop in. So next thing you need to do is make sure the push rods are the same length, and they are. Once again, they're pretty clean. So, real positive stuff so far. I don't have any reason to really believe that this was anything else other than I was told it was. But we all get in those situations where, you know, it could be a deal that's too good to be true. We got lucky with the little 2.3 turbo. So maybe we can get lucky with this 5.0. But I'm really, really hoping, guys, that this is a really good engine, because I have got a temporary home for it. So it would be nice if for once it got a win. So far everything looks pretty decent. Get rid of that old gasket. And I guess we're ready to pull the heads off of it. So I know something's in the cylinder back here, so we'll start with this cylinder head first. So I like to break these loose in the pattern that they torque in generally. So that's what I'm going to do. Just in reverse. While being mindful not to lose anything. Hopefully I can slide this head off without pulling these studs out, so that might be the trick here. They might be stuck real good. I really hate to unseal something like this, but in this situation, we don't really have no choice. And I may have to just go ahead and buzz them studs out because it might just be the easier way to do it. So we got most of them studs out. We had one that the Allen was kind of stripped out on. I done old hammer Torx bit trick in the end of it, and just now got it free. So a little gap in the video for you guys. But if anybody don't know, on a small block Ford, a 289 or 302, the bottom studs go into a water jacket. And you should always put some thread sealer on the block side. Or you end up having to do stuff like this because the Allen gets stripped out. So, I was absolutely right. We had a dirt dauber nest or a black wasp nest or whatever you want to call them in this cylinder. So that's not good. However, it looks all right. And the head gaskets are on this one, right? So that's another positive note. I was just trying to see what version these were. And these are just the standard head gaskets. They're not even the high performance version with the stainless firing ring in it. So it has quite a bit of crap in this cylinder. We're going to have to get the air hose and blow that out. We'll go a little deeper into what's inside this thing here in just a moment. Let me get the air up and get some of this out of this cylinder right here. And since these lifters are somewhat clean, I'm just going to go ahead and pull them out and bag them. Have a look at them. They look pretty consistent with everything else I've seen so far. They look brand new. I have no idea what brand they are. They don't have anything marked on them, so they're fairly clean. Other than a little dirt. And with the link bar lifter and a small block Ford, you have to pull the heads off of it to get the lifters out. So let's get that other head off there and see if there's any surprises on the other side. So I got all the studs out but the center one down here at the bottom. And, it wouldn't come out even with the Torx bit trick. So that's not good. And I'm going to say it's probably because it's all corroded up. It doesn't appear that we have any surprises in these cylinders. Not no creatures anyway. So we don't have no ridges either. So just the penetrating oil I already sprayed in it when I get it to the shop. I always spray something in these things, guys, just to keep them from, if they are stuck, it's just good preventative maintenance. And say you want to take a chance and run this thing anyway, you don't want the rings to be dry either. So that head gasket was on the right way too. So I'm just going to take a little piece of Scotch-Brite and kind of just hit this mud here a little bit. I'm not going to really kind of bear into it. Just kind of just kind of hit it here and see what we end up with. Looks like we got just a hair of some rust there, but other than that, it looks pretty all right. I don't think it's got any major pitting in that cylinder, but we'll have to get it all the way apart to find out, but I think that'll clean up. I couldn't really wait, so I hit it with a hone. Just super quick right there. As you can see, there is some rust staining. You can barely feel it. That right there is kind of an acceptable level of something like this. I think it'll be absolutely all right. But when we take this thing the rest of the way apart, at least knocking that rust off, keep it from getting all in the rings. So the rest of the bores, like I said, guys, it don't look like it's got very much run time at all. And the heads look like they're just a stock E7 head. You see part number right there, it's E7TE, so that would be consistent with the Roller 5.0. And it looks like it has been surfaced up here. I don't know if you can see it. It looks like this has been surfaced. It's had freeze plugs put in it. And looking down in here, it looks like it's had a valve job done to it. I know it's hard for me to show you guys, but it's real clean. The tops of the valves are real clean. It looks like it's had a back cut done up into the bowl of the intake seats. The exhaust on them is completely untouched. And does have a little carbon buildup, not a whole lot. But that looks somewhat positive. These look somewhat positive. I'll have to look up that part number right there and see exactly what these are. But more than likely, they're probably just a hyper-eutectic piston. But it is 40 over, which makes this a 308 cubic inch engine. And it looks like that's a seal power, once again, like our 2.3 turbo. It's seal powered 40 over hyper-eutectic piston. So it looks really nice. I'll give it that. So let's flip this thing over and get the oil pan off of it and have a look, and then we'll pull this camshaft out and see exactly what it is. Alright guys, this thing had one of the Felpro Permadry one-piece rubber oil pan gaskets. There's absolutely no reason to glob RTV all the way around this thing. So they really like their RTV. The good thing is everything looks good, even though this is an 80 model block, and I'll show you that cast number here in a minute. It does have an 87 model crank in it. It looks like it's got D1 casting rods in it. Should be 71. And this thing's pretty consistent between all of them. The bore, like I said, looks good in it. You still see the coating on the skirt of the piston. Does have a new oil pump in it. Just an M68. It don't look like it's a high volume or anything. Just a regular M68 oil pump. It's got the pickup tube for that pan over there. But, however, I did see something I wasn't happy with. If you guys look at that plug, you see that on that plug, you see this. You see that. That is very much not good. I'm not even going to stick my finger in that stuff, guys, but you can see it with your own eyes. So, instead of wigging out over what's in that pan, let's simply find where it come from. On a small block Ford, there's a couple of places that kind of amount of metal could have came from. One of them being it had to run the distributor gear in it, and the distributor gear got ate. Or the thrust on the camshaft's wrong and it's worn off the plate there. Or it could just be total junk. The bottom end could be total junk as far as crank and rod bearings go. So, yep, this seemed like a great idea, and now it's not. So, let's dig deeper, guys. I think I'm gonna go ahead and pull this oil pickup tube off and pop the top off the oil pump. Have a peek in there. We'll go ahead and get this timing chain off, and then we'll start pulling this thing down. And normally I'd put you guys back on time lapse for this, but seeing that I could have potentially have gotten very screwed here, and this guy is local, so at this point forward, I'm just going to document everything kind of in real time, guys, because I'm not really one to start asking for money back on something, but if you tell me it's a good fresh motor, you know, you would just clean it up and run it. I think just put it in there and cleaned up and run it was to hide the fact that it may have had a problem. So I like to believe everybody's got the best intentions on everything, guys. And sometimes that's not always the case. That's kind of the point of this budget engine build series too. We'll give props to the ones that are honest, and the ones that aren't, we'll go from there. So, timing chain don't look like it's got any excessive wear, neither does the retainer plate for the camshaft. Question is, that metal had to come from somewhere. Where did you come from? So, let's pop the top on this oil pump. Because in a case like this, and an engine's consuming metal, the first stop it's going to have is going to be your oil pump here. And I just wanted to have a quick look in here, just to make sure what it looked like. And it looks like it's had some through it, but it looks pretty okay. Now I'm not going to pull the gears and stuff out until we get out of the car, but out of the engine anyway. Not out of the car. But we'll give this thing the benefit of the doubt, and let's hope it's not trash. Because it was cheap for what it was represented as. But sometimes, guys, you see this stuff and you're like, man, that's a deal, and then your seller tells you, well, it's ready to go in. And the problem is, once you run this thing, you own it. And sometimes people won't take one back if you take it apart either, but it's got an ARP oil pump drive, so once again, another good thing about it. However, the mess inside the pan is not a good thing, so let's I'm gonna put you guys on time lapse while I take some of these bolts loose, and then I'll be back. I don't know if you guys could see when I went ahead and pulled the main caps loose first, because I had a sneaking suspicion that it might be something else. So if you look at the main bearings, you can see they've had a little metal go through them, but they look generally okay. All of them look just like that. I done pulled them all off, except our thrust bearing. And if I pull this off, you can see that right there. That is dirty oil. The bearing itself looks fine. And the front side of the thrust looks fine. But if you get back here, here's where all our stuff and our pain come from. It has ate the thrust bearing out of it. Now, what you gotta watch, guys, when this happens, you gotta watch your crank surface right here. You can get away with a little wear here, but if this crank has a horrible lip here right here, this engine will always eat thrust bearings out of it. Unfortunately, the crankshaft don't look all that hot. I think it would be okay with a little cleanup, but without putting a new bearing in it and checking the thrust play, and I'll show you how to do that in an upcoming video on some other stuff. But without putting a new bearing in it, checking the thrust, and clean that crank up on the thrust surface, there's absolutely no way to tell how badly this thrust surface is worn. So at this point, we're going to have to go ahead and pull all the rods and pistons out of it, and we're going to have to check that stuff anyway, just because of the metal being in this thing. It's going to have a full deep clean, kind of like we did in the 2.3 turbo. So let's hope that the rest of the crank is beautiful, and that maybe we can just re-gasket this engine and put a set of main bearings in it and hope everything's good. So I don't think it's been run very long. It did have a stick shift behind it, and this car did have, supposedly had a supercharger on it. So there's a potential for a heavy thrust load. Usually you see this stuff in an engine that's behind an automatic with a torque converter, and you sit on that torque converter for a long time trying to build boost in a turbo car, it will eat the thrust bearing out of an engine. With the stick shift, it is somewhat common, but not to the extent of this. And with a supercharger, there would be no reason why you were trying to build boost by trying to load the engine. So let's get this thing raceway tore apart. But before we do sad stuff, it's probably gonna be sad. Let's see what camshaft this engine has in it, because the thrust plate looks great in it, and it looks like it does have newer cam bearings. So that's a positive thing. Usually on a small block Ford, I'll just take one of the water pump bolts and stick it in there for a cam tool. It's not the right thread, but they're long enough that you can pretty much walk this little gallon out. At least till you get a good handle on it. So the cam looks good in it. The distributor gear don't seem to have a lot of wear. It has a Ford Motorsport B303 camshaft in it. So not a real big cam at all. So if anything positive, that's something positive. But that's a long way off from a custom ground turbo cam, and hypereutectic pistons are a long way from a forged piston. So technically there's two lies. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he didn't know this, and this was pulled out of a car, that, you know, this wasn't done to be deceitful. And it's quite possible he didn't know anything about the thrust bearing. But yeah, the oil, it didn't have enough oil in it to had oil in it. What come out of the engine was just what has drained out of it after it had been drained. So somebody knew that the oil in this thing had to have metal in it. and the engine still got sold anyway. So that's another thing. So point is, guys, if you're going to sell a used engine and you don't know anything about it, say you don't know anything about it, and that, you know, it's got a camshaft in it, but you don't know anything about it, and you know, if you know it's been rebuilt at one time, don't say it's got forged pistons and it's one oversized and then it's another. And definitely, if it's got anything metallic in oil, definitely don't sell it to anybody. Not without pulling it down and seeing what's wrong with it. So guys, I'm going to put you on time lapse at this point. I think I've done documented most of the bad at this point. The cam bearings look beautiful in it. So I'm going to put you on time lapse till we get the rods and pistons out of it, and we'll have a look at this stuff a little more in depth again. And I'll show you the date code on the block and the casting number, and clarify when I said it's an 80 model block. So stick with me through time lapse. I'm going to get these rods and pistons out of here, and we'll go from there. Well, no real surprises. Like you see, the rest of my bearings look beautiful in it. Even the one with the thrust date out of it looks okay. Except where it started to get hot and started consuming itself right there. Other than that, the bores look pretty okay. We need to run a hone through them and see what they look like. That one looks like it might have a little rust in it, and that one too. That one might also. So far, the rings looked okay, the pistons looked okay, the rods looked okay. But that thrust bearing does not look okay. And the crank has been turned 10 thousandths undersize. So it's 10 on the mains, 10 on the rods. So kind of sad that if we had to put a crankshaft in this thing, it's kind of sad because it was still in real good serviceable shape. Using a performance application, I'll go 10 under, maybe 20. 20 is kind of my no-go. I have seen people run 30 and 40 thousandths under. I would not highly suggest that at all for any kind of performance application. You need to stick in that 10 thousandths range, especially on the rod journals. 20 thousandths on the mains would be okay. So I'm going to roll this thing over. Let's buzz a hone through this thing real quick and make sure we don't have any bad pitty stuff. And we'll go from there. So the bore's cleaned up pretty decent, guys. There's just a couple little vertical scratches here and there, but in general, they cleaned up. They look good and they're acceptable. So our next step, I gotta clean all these gasket surfaces off, get this thing good and scraped clean. And then begin cleaning on all this mess over here and trying to figure out what to do about our little crankshaft there. So guys, I appreciate you watching this video. This is probably where I'm going to leave it off. Our next video, we'll get this block cleaned up and see 100% what everything cleans up and looks like. So if you haven't yet, check out our friends over at Kentucky Mustang. I'll put a discount code down there in the description below. Save you a little bit if you need some Mustang parts or classic Ford parts. There's a lot of Mustang stuff that'll transfer over. So make sure you check them out. And if you haven't yet, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button because it helps the channel to grow. It helps me bring you more videos like this. If you are a subscriber, I greatly appreciate you guys. And I look forward to everybody's comments down below. So until next time, guys, thanks, and I'll see you at the next one.